So the next part of the discussion are the stages of career that an employee goes through. So you can understand that as an employee accumulates experience in the organization, the whole process can be conceptualized in a model of growth and decay. So progressing from the point of beginning to a point of growth till the point of termination and ultimately decay are the natural occurrences in the life of an employee in the organization. So based on this phenomenon, Donald E. Super in 1957 has suggested that there are 5 stages that an employee will go through in organization. This is also referred to as career cycle model. So the first stage that Donald D. Super suggested is the exploration stage. Now what happens in the exploration stage? Here the employees make some critical decision regarding his work. This is a stage where the employees move from education to job. That means he makes a formal transition from his education to the job. So it is likely to end in the mid-20s of an employee. The critical decision that the employees make at this exploration stage will determine whether he is punctual to his job, whether he is hardworking in his job. It will also determine the relationship of the employee with the other employees. That means whether he has a dominating nature or whether he carries a pleasant personality in the organization. So in a nutshell, you can say that in the exploration stage, the employee develops an attitude towards the work in the organization, and it will determine the paths or determine the direction in which the career of the employee will move in the organization. After the exploration phase comes the establishment stage. So once the employee has decided on the profession that he will pick up, he applies for the job and he receives his first appointment. So establishment stage is characterized by employees going through the recruitment process of the organization in which he receives the job. So once he receives the job, he goes through a process called socialization. In the socialization process, the employee mixes up with other employees in the organization. Or the other employees also develop an attitude towards the newly appointed employee. Now, in the establishment phase, it is quite unlikely that the employee will be given an assignment of higher status and higher challenge. He is generally given assignments which are quite simple, but it is also referred to as an going uphill stage. Why? Because this is a stage where the employee learns from the past mistakes. This is also a stage where the employer will develop an image of the employee in his minds. Next comes the mid-career stage. Now it is expected that when an employee reaches his mid-career stage, he will be at the peak of his performance. But unfortunately, many of the employees suffer a dilemma at this stage. Many of the employees think of shifting jobs at this stage. Why? Because they have not been able to live up to the performance. So when they find that they are struggling in the organization, they will seek for alternative jobs. So mid-career stage is a stage which is characterized on the one hand by some employees who are reaching heights, who are basically extending their level of performance on the one hand, and on the other hand, it is characterized by employees who are struggling to maintain a level of performance. Then comes the late career stage. Now, the late career stage will depend upon how the mid-career stage of the employee was. The late career stage will be quite glorious if the mid-career stage is characterized by higher performance. That means in case of late career stage, the employees have nothing to prove to the employer. He has reached a stage in his career where even if he does not perform up to the level, then the employer will not terminate him, because it is a stage where he is supposed to gain respect from the other employees. He is considered to be a treasure by the organization, but provided his mid-career stage is characterized by high performance and he was a good performer in the mid-career stage. If not, then the late career stage will become a burden. If not, then organization can even offer a voluntary retirement scheme to the employees so that the organization can get rid of the employees. But if the mid-career stage is characterized by high performance, then the employee in the organization will be treasured in the late career stage. And the final stage is the decline stage. Now, in the decline stage, there is a psychological withdrawal because the employee knows that the retirement is quite near. The time of retirement is quite near. So he withdraws from all the responsibilities that he has in the organization. It is a stage where he basically cherishes the past memories and he discusses his experience with the younger employees. It is also a stage where the employees will become emotional because after a long, after so many years of performance in the organization, a stage has come where he is adjourning or he is separating from the organization. Late career, the decline stage can also be quite glorious in cases when the employees had a glorious past. If the employee's mid-career stage is characterized by high performance, then an employee at his decline stage will be a treasure. But sometimes, if it does not happen, then employees in the organization will just wait for the time when he will retire because he also thinks that the job is like a burden for him. Anyways, these are the 5 stages of career that an employee goes through. Please read and go through the whole concept. Please listen to the discussion. This is an advice which you must follow. If you do not listen to the discussion, it will become all quite monotonous and boring. So when you listen to the discussion, I hope that it will awaken your interest. Anyways, before I come, I will complete the third unit of human resource management in the next day. So I expect that you will be done with the preparation of the third unit till now, whatever we have discussed by then. So I will come up with the next note 2 or 3 days down the line. So till then, have a good time. Goodbye.